People, today we're grabbing some inspiration from Pinterest with the Boho style. I have 3 inspired dupes for you, and this is our first inspiration. I'm going to emphasize that because when you see the end result, you're going to probably laugh at me. And these are all being recreated using thrifts I found at my local thrift store. To get us started, I always look over my pieces, see if I need to clean them, if there's mistakes that we have to fix, if there's any bleeding going on I need to cover. So we're going to start off by cleaning the pieces, and I'm just mixing up a little bit of Dixie Belle's White Lightning and giving it a thorough rub down. You always want to make sure that whatever cleaners you're using to clean your pieces, that you go back over them with soap and water to get any residue off of your pieces before you start to paint. To recreate our Pinterest inspiration, I'm just going to use a lid of that box. Listen, I know what you're thinking. Just roll with me, okay? Now this has a little bit of shine to it. So just to be safe rather than sorry, we're going to knock off some of that shine by giving it a light sand with 180 grit. When you're done with your sand, make sure you get all the crusty bits off. I'm using a microfiber cloth here just to make sure that the area is clean and our piece is clean. And I'm going to be using this Dixie Belle chocolate. Look how blippin' thick this stuff is. It is like pudding, right? Look at this. So creamy. I do not care for how dark that is. It wasn't very boho-y to me. So I'm mixing a little bit of water with some Waverly's White because I'm out of my Dixie Belle white paint. And I'm mixing it together until I got this beautiful consistency. And it's a little bit smoother for our application. And get used to seeing the paint because we're going to use it throughout the rest of the video. Now we're going to need a little stand and just something to put on top of our inspiration piece. Again, roll with me, people, okay? It'll make sense in the end. It'll make sense in the end what the inspiration is for this. I put 2 coats on all 3 of the pieces. Another reason I love Dixie Belle paint so much, it just has amazing coverage, plus it's self-leveling. Another really good quality paint that is budget friendly and easy to access is Waverly, so I will use that a lot on my thrifted pieces. I sell at a vendor space, and I also sell pieces that you see me creating content on my website, thediystruggle.com. Now let these dry, or use a heat gun and cheat like I do, and then glue everything together using some wood glue and some hot glue. Next, we're going to take some fabric. You can use burlap like in our inspiration. However, you know, I found this really neat looking fabric at Dollar Tree and it was soft and I wanted to use it. And then we're going to take some tacky glue because I really think the tacky glue holds super well against wood and fabric, and apply to the back of our piece. Cut the little fabric down to size and then just smoosh that sucker right on in there. And if you don't like the way you place it, be quick about it because this stuff will catch really, really quick. This way you can maneuver it how you want. Next, you're going to need a couple beads and some twine or nautical rope like I'm using here. And I'm just kind of grabbing a couple little slices of the nautical rope, taking some painter's tape to make a pointy little tip so I can smoosh the beads onto this sucker. Again, I know you're thinking, Brandi, I've seen this inspiration piece. Listen, I'm telling you, it's going to make sense in the end where I got the inspiration from with this piece. I promise. Just roll on with me. Now I want to make sure that our beads stay around the top, so I took a little bit of tacky glue and put around the top and just started wrapping the twine or nautical rope around the top and tied a little, you know, a little boop boop on there, so this way it didn't move, as if the tacky glue wasn't going to hold it there anyway. And here's where the inspiration comes in from our piece. We're going to take a little bit of greenery and we're going to attach it onto the fabric that is in the box. And I love how this piece turned out. It's always so funny to me, the things that you can create just by looking at something, how they can inspire you. Today's video is part of the Makeover May playlist series that I hold all month long on my channel in May, where we have different creators come in, we do a different theme each Friday, and just give you thrifting makeover inspiration. This week, I'm teaming up with Angela Jones DIY to bring you some boho inspiration. And there is a giveaway at the end of the month for a $100 electronic Amazon gift card. If you want a chance to win this gift card, here's how you can do that. Each content creator that's going to be popping in Makeover May will have a unique Makeover May code word for you hidden somewhere inside their video. All you're going to have to do is collect all of them. There's 7 total content creators and I'll be participating each week, so you'll need 11 unique code words in total. At the end of the month on May 27th, I am going to upload this post on my community tab. If you have collected all of the code words, just write yes in the comment and you will be instantly entered in a chance to win the electronic Amazon gift card. You will have until June 1st to get your yes in on that post, and June 2nd I will announce the randomly selected winner in those comments. The winner is going to have to email me all of the code words. I am sorry for any inconvenience with this. There has been a ton of scamming going on, and hopefully this will eliminate some of that. For more detailed information, I do have a video on this and I will link that down in the description box for you. For this piece, I was really inspired by the towel look and the colors in this. However, I was really inspired because of the shape and the style of this. And it matches the shape of the thrift that we have. You know what I'm saying? The other half of the box, that the lid, you guys know what I'm talking about. Now, I cleaned this sucker on up and we are ready to paint it. Since our box is dark and I really want this white, to avoid sucking up my time doing several layers of white chalk paint, I'm going to give this a nice coat of the brown, let that dry, and then come on in with 1 layer of white paint. Took a couple minutes using a little heat gun, and we're all ready to get our stencils on here. To get our design on the box, I decided to go the stencil route. Honestly, people, though, let me be real with y'all, you can create this in so many different ways. You can decoupage paper, napkins, little towel pieces. I figured stencil would be one of the easier ways for me this week. I was sucked for time, so I wanted to also customize the colors according to what I wanted, and stencils are going to give me that option. I will tell you 1000% though, if you do not want this to bleed or smoosh underneath your stencil, please, please, please take your base color and go over your stencil. Make sure it is locked in place there, and or use Mod Podge to go over the stencil and then apply your colors. This is going to stop any bleed through from the stencil. Again, I said I was a little bit smoosh for time this week, so I just went ham and painted it anyway. I did have to go over this with some of the white paint and touch up some of the bleeding from the stencil colors. Personally, this is really therapeutic to me. Painting is like my zen, decoupage is like my zen, touching up little details is like my zen moment. So I never mind having to go back and do that stuff most of the time. We're going to add little legs onto our box. So I'm just taking some beads here. Make sure you're adding wood glue on here for that long lasting hold. I then took some greenery. I think a little succulent would look really cute too. Pop that one in here and added a little bit of those accent white rocks that Dollar Tree carries, and really love how this turned out. I have been wanting to recreate something like this for quite some time, and honestly, you can buy mirrors all over the place for inexpensive prices, but when I seen this little gem at my thrift store, I was like, I know exactly what I'm doing with it and I'm bringing it on home. But viewer beware, I have had a bunch of bumps in the road with this thrift makeover. At first glance, and what really drew me to this was I thought this was wood. Okay, I had a certain idea, a certain, style that I was going for, and as I started cleaning the piece off, I was like, this don't seem right, but we're gonna keep on going. So I took a piece of sandpaper to sand this down, and here we go. The paper starts peeling off, and I'm like, okay, so we're not gonna be just sanding this down. Now I have to get all the paper off, because if not, when you go to resell things like this and you paint over it, as time goes, that paper is going to peel on up. So I had to get all this paper off. So I'm going and going and going, and I struggle with hand grip strength. I'm just letting y'all have it with this DIY. So I'm just going to let y'all know all the things. So I was like, you know what? Muck this. And I went and I grabbed a stronger piece of sandpaper. I was like, this is going to do it. Okay. So then I started going ham with a stronger piece of sandpaper and thought that was going to come up easy. Again, I think I'm working on wood. Are you following me? So as I'm going, I'm like, this paper's still not coming up, muck this, and I went and I grabbed the sander. Okay, so I got this all going on. I went and got the battery, which I thought was charged because I had it plugged into my glue gun and I didn't use it very long. Are you serious? Man. People, I stopped filming the outside process at this point because I was so frustrated and realized that that was not wood. It was MDF and it was shredding. You want to talk about upset? I was about to just throw the whole project out the window, but we're not going to do that because this is a DIY struggle and we get past the struggle and just move on unless it's a ball of yarn. Then we have lines and we quit there, okay? If you haven't seen that video, then you wouldn't get the pun, but some of you will. That's right, a yarn ball made me tap out, okay? Stop judging me. We all have our problems. Now, we need to create a texture for this to make sure that it is really thick since it's MDF. I didn't want to just paint over it. One of my favorite go-tos is to take some joint compound and some calcium carbonate and mix them suckers up with some chalk paint. So I'm just taking the paint that we already had mixed here and I'm smooshing everything together to get a really nice thick consistency. I picked these chippy brushes up, I don't even remember where, and thought to myself, let's use a chippy brush to get a real thin texture going. And I got sidetracked. Y'all ever just love how soft a brush feels sometimes? One of my favorite ways to create a really nice clumpy texture look is by using a sponge. However, since this is MDF and I done, sanded the top of it and there were bits and I was like, we got to make sure that this is properly sealed, and using a chippy brush and tappity tap in all over this sucker in really thin layers. I did too. Before we come in with our clumpy sponge is going to help really seal this up. I took a smaller brush and went around where the mirror piece is. And people, if you are worried about getting paint on glass or mirror, don't be. It is super easy to get up. You can just go over it with a little razor and just chip off that paint super easily. Once this was mostly dry, I came back in with our sponge and went ham with the clumps. And I did this 2 different times to give it a really, really nice thick textured look in certain sections. And you can do this according to your style. If you are happy with the initial tappity tap in and not using the sponge because this will have big chunks in different sections, then just leave it. While our mirror is off drying, and I actually let this dry overnight, you're gonna need popsicle sticks and hello yarn. We meet again. You're gonna need some yarn. I'm using white for this. Use whatever color you want. And I'm chopping off the edge of our popsicle sticks. You could use painter sticks if you don't have these laying around. And then you're gonna wanna cut your yarn to size. That really is a preference. And it's painstaking. So, I decided to actually wrap this in a big circle between my elbow and like the top of my hand. And this is what we got. And then I clipped it and then started the gluing process. To glue it, I'm using tacky glue and hot glue. On a side note, completely unrelated to the DIY, I noticed my tacky glue was getting a little clogged and I wasn't sure who else was going to think that this was satisfying to watch besides myself. So I decided to share as I pulled this giant clump right on out the top of this tube. You're welcome. I took the tacky glue and spread it just like some mayonnaise all down the popsicle stick at the bottom section, and then came in with some hot glue at the top section and did this little by little as I attached the yarn pieces. And people, make sure to protect your little digits, okay? Because you're gonna probably burn yourself if you do this. I had an amazing subscriber send me these little finger protectors. You know who you are. Thank you, girly. I appreciate you. And I went about tappity tap in all along the hot glue, all along this yarn, making sure that this was glued down here thoroughly, and then took our other popsicle stick, put more tacky glue on the bottom of that and a little bit of hot glue, and pressed the two pieces together so it smooshed in our yarn really, really well, so it wasn't going anywhere. This is not the original way I wanted to go about this, but since our piece was MDF and a bunch of other little random things in my mind I had running through it, I figured it would just be best to do this off the piece and then attach this on to the piece so I had better control over the yarn and the attachment. I cut the yarn to size, and for all the trouble that this sucker put me through, I really enjoy the end result. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. As always, people, thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed these thrift flips, and don't forget to check out the Makeover May playlist down in the description box. Angela has some boho pieces for you as well. I hope you'll come back each week and check out what the content creators have for you. And if you're interested in a chance to win that giveaway, don't forget to grab the code words.